All right, what is going on, Discord and YouTube family? It's been a minute since I came back for a market review, but it's your first time here. My name is T Hobbs. This is the market review. This is the Trader Shop channel, and thank you guys for tuning in to my journey to becoming a killer in the industry. Is what I want to refer to myself as, right? But I'm just kidding. But I mean, let's get right into it, man. I got my ass kicked today. I got my ass kicked today. Uh, it was a red day, but it's not that it was a red day. It's that I broke a ton of rules, right? And I'm lucky to end with just a small, well, a significantly large red day, but it's nothing I can't get over, right? I was down roughly about, I thought it was 11:37. I went back and looked. It was 11:71 or something like that on the day. So I wanted to go over a few things in this particular video that aren't the traditional market review things that I do. So just bear with me, and I'm going to kind of walk you guys through a lot of my thought process this morning and where things kind of went wrong, so to speak, in addition to giving you some market analysis on the day. So what I have here on the screen is I have the market in replay mode, right? With uh, the sessions broken down, right? Now, yesterday I was trading the London session as well as this morning trading the New York session. I took the market short multiple times up here. I ended up cutting for small losses, small losses, small losses. And then I ended up shorting the market up here at about 6,004. I got out. My target was 59, 51.50. Market went right there, but I ended up cutting myself short here. Now, although I do get a little frustrated when I miss opportunities, I still was green, after, taking multiple entries in this area, still green on the day. I honestly debated not trading, and I'm gonna tell you some reasons why. Number one, I personally I live by a solid set of rules in the market and what I like to call filters, right? Um, Filters in the market help me to decide, like, okay, when I see this, i.e., something like if if I'm trading ES on the day and I notice very soon that it's in, a 20-point range, 25-point range, that's a filter for me. I'm just not going to trade it because I know there's better price action on the way, right? NQ in 100 or 150-point range, that's a filter for me, right? But then I had to start learning myself and learning certain like outside filters for myself so that I wouldn't, get sucked in. And today, some of those filters hit and I ignored them. And usually when I ignore my filters, um, I get myself in trouble. So one big filter for me is waking up on time, right? I'm an ex-military member, right? I'm very, very punctual. I'm very, very structural about like my thought process, right? And when I get out of a routine, I don't necessarily perform well in the market. That's part of my edge, is like being in a routine. Now, if you can relate to that, then cool. If not, just listen up, because maybe you don't realize you can relate to it, and you can, right? But when I woke up this morning, it was about 7:30 a.m. on Central Standard Time, so about 8:30 market time. I usually spend an hour prior to market open analyzing and charting the markets, right? So I can get a good understanding of where price is trying to go, where I'm trying to go with price, scenarios in which I would look for to reverse my thesis, and then things to validate my thesis, right? So anytime I wake up late, like I'm usually in here 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, Central Standard Time, breaking down price. If I don't make that window, it's usually a good sign that I probably need to go on demo, right? This morning, I woke up 7:30, didn't follow that filter. That was my first red flag. Hey, leave the market alone. You're already green on the day. Why even chance it if you're not ready to trade, right? That was my first green flag, or my first red flag. My second thing that I don't like to do, right, is I don't like to trade without a pre-market plan. Now, if you've ever watched any of my market review videos, you would notice that I usually start these videos off with my pre-market plan. I go over the plan, what I was looking for the market to do, what the conditions of the market were, where I was bullish, where I was bearish, right? All of these things I play in the part so that I know when price enters a certain area on my screen, I know kind of how I would like for it to operate for me to engage with it. What you notice in today's video, however, is there's no pre-market plan. That's a big red flag for me, because my pre-market plan is a part of my edge. That's how I sharpen my sword. So if I'm coming to battle, and whether you see it or not, this market is more than a battle. It's a full-blown war, right? It's a war of the indices, right? It's a war of, supply and demand. And then it's a war of you versus you, right? Like that's always the biggest psychological warfare right there. You versus you is a big part of that war. And if you show up without your armor on, right, you stand a higher probability of losing that battle, right, and losing that war. So today I lost the war, but then I started to really dig deep into what I did to lead me to that tilt. So I did go tilt. I did lose way more than I wanted to lose. I lost 11. I was down 1,100, but I started the day up over 1,000. So that gives you an idea of how much I got beat up today, right? So, but I'm gonna take you through kind of candle by candle my thought process on the 15-minute chart, so we ain't gotta be here all day. But I'm gonna take you through kind of what my thought process was, right? And like where I went wrong in my thesis. So first of all, the first thing I noticed this morning was we were in a downtrend aggressively on the right side of price, right? I know this because I was in the short, as I explained earlier, from 6,004. And I usually look for London, the blue box, right, to bring the high of day. Tokyo brought us up here. London broke structure right here below 59.9375. And London brought the high of day. Now, my thought process coming into the market was we were currently at a new week opening gap. And although new week opening gaps can be support or resistance on a higher time frame, just like support and resistance on a smaller time frame, they can also be broken through after they've been reacted to. So I saw this setup. I saw this 15-minute, 8:15 candle, 8 o'clock candle, and I entered the market on these longs, right? Here's my problem. I was in profit damn near every trade I took today, right? I got in at the lows down here like 59.46, 59.45. The market went as high as 59.57. I literally took nothing, right? Absolutely nothing from the trade. That's rule break number one. Number one is I do not, once I'm up a certain amount of money, I don't give that back, right? Or I shouldn't say money, points. I don't give that back. Hang on a second. My dog, he's getting ready to growl or bark. Out, Bubba. Out. Raw video. Everything is raw. I don't do nothing, scripted. But anyway, so the one thing that I don't do is I don't like to give back profit. Like I don't really like. I do like to catch the larger moves, but when the market starts to struggle, like it struggled here, and then it pushed up into 9:15 and 9:30. Again, I should have been securing profit in the event that we failed to break above the previous day high. My thought process here was simple. I thought that we were coming down to the end wall, right? And playing off support of the new week opening gap. And we were going to make a push back up at least to the data high, this little small gap right here, all of these gaps we put into price. I don't think my thesis was horrible, right? So that was my first loss, right? There were plenty of losses. So I'm not going to go through every one. I'm just going to kind of give you my general thesis. So after this got smoked, of course, a little bit of tilt kicked in and I took a long right off the end of this doji candle. Now, my thought process here was, okay, we're at the top of my chessboard. Usually I like to play a break and a retest off the top of the chessboard. This was the break here, right? And this was the retest. Now, all of these were good trade ideas, but the problem was that they lacked information. And I'm going to get to that here in a second. So I took this loss. And I think from there, I was really, really tilted. I was trying to stop, right? But my I guess my fight or flight, right? Like my anger or the, whatever that tilt monster is, wouldn't let me quit. So like I left the Discord, the VC, and I was actually still green. By the time I got out of the VC, like I had completely damaged my day, right? But the big thing was, thank God for the Discord members. Like I posted in there, I was struggling a little bit, talking about my day. Some of the members responded like, hey, just get up, walk away. I got a phone call from one of my accountability partners while I was still tilted, literally mid tilt. Right? Shout out to Malik. And yeah, he kind of talked you off the cliff, not by saying, "Hey man, put the sticks down." It's just like giving you the things that you would say to him, right? Or vice versa if they were in that same situation. Because all I did was get smoked in this little dance right here. I never took any shorts, none, and the market was going straight down. All I did was long here, didn't take any profit. I actually got long here, 59.20 for two bennies. I actually ended up getting break even on the day, right? And I'm sharing this with you because I know somebody else goes through it, right? These things happen, right? But I was damn near break even on the day. No, I was break even. I was actually in profit on the day with two minis. And I told myself, okay, I'm going to take off half because I'm comfortable being, losing, half of that. I thought that I sold 10 micros. I ended up buying 10 more micros right on the phone with one of my accountability buddies. And I was like so upset because now I was in 3 minis and now I was losing money. I ended up being up $1,500 on this trade, which would have put me in profit on the day, to only netting $300 on this trade. That was full tilt right there. Like that was legit full tilt, right? And I'm telling you this because I know that like my Discord is small, right? And my YouTube channel is small, but there are people that watch this, right? And there are people out there that are going through the same thing that I'm going through certain days. But there's a light at the end of this tunnel, and I'm gonna share with you after I go through this analysis. I'm gonna share with you the light that was at the end of my tunnel. So what did my analysis lack? Well, if we go down to the 4-hour, I'm gonna turn off these sessions. I'm gonna show you what my analysis lacked. So I want to focus on this area right here, right? I'm gonna turn off this magnet. I want to focus on this red area right here. So keep an eye on that area when I go to the 4-hour, okay? So on the 4-hour, the previous day high is here, right? Let me tell you something about 4-hour candles, okay? 4-hour candles do not reverse randomly, okay? If they started off as sell candles, see how this one started off as a sell candle, and then it broke structure, it's probably gonna end that way, right? Now think about what time I took that trade. I took that trade at about 9:15, 9:30, right? Where was my flaw? My flaw was that I never even looked at the higher time frame, if I'm being honest. I came into the market cocky as all get out, right? No pre-market plan, void of my weapon of choice, right? And I came in and said, screw the shorts, I'm going long. Didn't matter what the 4-hour candle looked like at that point, right? I skipped steps, right? In a $1 trillion market, you cannot skip steps. With my little, $3,000, $10,000, $15,000 prop firm account, I'm going against billionaires talking about I'm gonna skip steps. No, that is a no-go. If you have rules in place, if you have a system in place and you decide to skip steps on your system, you will lose. Every time I've done it, I have lost, okay? There hasn't been one time where I showed up to the market and was like, man, you know what? I'm gonna just do whatever I wanna do. And the market was like, oh, cool, man, let's reward him now. No. Every single time I choose to deviate from my system, I lose. And this was a deviation from my system because I knew deep down I didn't have all the information that I feel comfortable with, right? That's what I mean when I say sticking to the system. So that's what I was missing out of my analysis on the 4-hour. Now, the light at the end of the tunnel was ultimately from talking to my accountability buddy or just being a mature trader genuinely. I'm starting to grow and mature, not about the money. Like so many people focus on, how much money is he making? Did he get a payout? Oh my God, look how much you're up on your P&L. That is the trick, right? That is the shit that will make you not profitable. Constantly worrying about what you make, what other people make, if it's real, if it's fake. That is the trap, okay? Stop, and I'm talking to anybody, stop worrying about what other people make and can you get funded in 2 days, and start figuring out how can you keep an account for the long term. How many of you, if you're sitting and watching this, how many of you can say you've had an account, whether prop or real, for over 6 months, right? 3 months, 1 month, 1 week, 2 days, okay? When you start to really put it in perspective, if you can't hold these accounts for a month, at least a month, how are you ever gonna trust yourself to trade live funds for a longer period of time? Okay, you got to start thinking about this shit as it's a marathon. And for me, in order to hold myself accountable, I have to mature psychologically. It's not about maturing analytically, because analytically my system works. There's no amount of back testing, there's no amount of training that I need to do that's going to make my system different. There's a little tweakings and stuff like that I can do, but my system works. Now it's all about the improving the controller, right? The person that's in charge of executing at the area of interest. That's what you have to improve. If you constantly find yourself saying, man, I do so good on demo, shout out to Alex. I do so good on demo, but when I get to the funded or the prop, I collapse. You're not collapsing. You're getting greedy, right? Or you're getting scared. Those are the only two things, because those are emotions that don't really exist when you paper trade. I mean, they do if you take it serious enough, but for the most part, paper trade, you let it play out. You let it go to your TP, you let it hit your stop loss. You ain't got no real attachments. You need to have that same mentality when you trade in a real account. And if you don't feel that way, you're in too much size. All right, I'm gonna say that again. If you don't feel comfortable, as if the trade doesn't really matter, stop loss, the losing part of it doesn't matter, you're in too much size. Size down until it really feels like a paper trade account, just so you can get the reps, just so you can keep the account and get what you paid for. Some of you guys are paying for these instant accounts or funded account, whatever, and you ain't even keeping them 24 hours. That's crazy. You're learning absolutely nothing. But every time you sit back and you think about it, right? If you sit back and you really, really think, like, what am I doing bad? Go and make your own video. Reflect on yourself. That's what I use these videos for. They're like my walk-in journal, right? I feel naked when I don't make them, right? Like, but sometimes I just can't, right? But go back and make a journal or a video breaking down why you lost. Don't hide from it. Don't ignore your executions. They're your executions. I don't need to see them. Don't ignore your executions. Go back and look at them, especially on the days you go tilt. Go back and look at them and say, okay, did any of these line up with my thesis? The answer is no. It's not a you thing, right? It's not a chart thing, an analysis thing. It's a you thing, right? So then you got to figure out, how can I fix me and that aspect of it, right? But ultimately, the biggest thing I missed from a market analysis standpoint, like I said, was that major aggressive downtrend, right? I didn't recognize the strength of the downtrend. And had I just taken a couple seconds to look at it, I would have easily noticed that it was an very aggressive downtrend. Now, things I could have done differently in regards to my system. You say, well, how would you know to take this trade? The answer is I wouldn't, right? Like, inside of my system, I would have had to wait until price either tap back into the red box here and go short, targeting the green box, or ixnayed all of this because we're below midnight and waited for price to get to the green box, right, on this sweep, and then long it back up. Case in point, I mean, ultimately, I should have stayed out of the market because I was already green from London. I'm not a continuation trader. This is technically a small reversal because it's a New York open. But if I missed this entry and this entry, because I would have been long here, I had no business trading in here, none. That's not what I do. I would have most likely waited for the liquidation of the green box and then looked to enter off the green box. But honestly, I probably would have been done trading before that anyway. So, but yeah, man, I just wanted to address or put out a video addressing rule breaks and tilt, right? I love to do a Q&A, but you guys got to show up for that. So that being said, my name is T Haas. This is the market review, and I'll catch you guys on the next one, man. Peace.